Yeah. Grab your tea, take a seat. Let's talk truth and healing. No need to retreat. From heartbreak to triumph, from pain to praise. With Bunky at the table, we're lighting the way. She's walked the road, felt the rain. Still found sunshine through the pain. With every story, a soul set free. This is Tea Time with Bunky, your safe space to be. It's real talk, it's love, it's truth you'll find. With Bunky by your side, you can speak your mind. From the heart of the struggle to the power of grace.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is Ricky. Hi, Ben. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is super recent. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky, your safe space. The place where all conversations are had. No conversation is too big and no conversation is too small. I would like to welcome everyone that will be reviewing this later, that comes on now. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. If this is your first time finding me, to all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers, thank you for taking this journey with me. I appreciate you all so much. You can catch Tea Time with Bunky live on Thursdays at 7 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Before I get into my special guest tonight, we would like to continue to send our prayers out to the family of Nolan Wells, the young man found on Horn Island, that was left on the island, and they're trying to get all of the discoveries of what happened, because it's a trauma. It's a terrible thing. We talk about this. I've talked about this. Everybody need to get out there, be aware. Get out there, boots on the ground. Don't let this just happen, because that boy did not just end up unalived on an island without his phone. So prayers to his family. We have elections coming up. Well, not coming up. Elections coming up in November. Make sure you're registered. Hopefully it's not too late. You're learning your candidates. You're finding out what's going on. I am just getting back into the political thing, because I've been away from it because my anxiety just couldn't take it. So get out there, learn the candidates, learn the names, the faces behind the signs. Get out there, know your people. And tonight we have a former candidate. She is, I'm excited to welcome back a previous guest, a familiar face to Tea Time with Bunky. It was on October 29th, 2024, on a political Tuesday. That's when I was doing my political thing. On political Tuesday, when she last joined us, she was on the campaign trail, sharing her vision and trying to get and earn the trust of the people in District 100. Tonight, she's back, not as a candidate, but as Assemblywoman Paula Kay, representing the people of the 100th District. Our conversation is titled From Promise to Progress. Promise to Progress. And tonight, we will take a look at her journey since taking office, the work that's been done, the challenges ahead, and her vision for the future of our communities. Tonight, nearly 2 years later, it's wonderful to welcome her back to the show. Welcome, Assemblywoman Kay.
Well,
yes, you got your tea.
I got my tea.
I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and not feeling well. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. So
Absolutely.
how are you doing? How are you?
I am good. I am thrilled to be here. We had so much fun last time.
Yeah.
And it's great to be back and be able to talk about actual things that are going on in my office, things in the 100th Assembly District that are really important to everybody.
Okay. So there is a lot going on. Like I said, I've been disconnected because politics stress me out. They really, really do. But the last time you joined us, you were campaigning for the office.
Mhm.
That's wild that it was October 29th, 2024, and we're in
Mhm.
2026.
Yep.
Since then, you've been elected and you've begun serving the residents of the district. Looking back now, how has your journey changed you both professionally and personally?
Well, while it's less than 2 years, it also feels like a lifetime. That, and in a good way.
Okay.
In a good way. But there's a lot in Sullivan County, and so just for those who don't know, the 100th district is most of Sullivan County except for the town of Fremont, Rockland, and Neversink, and then in Orange County, the city of Middletown and the town of Wallkill. We all know there's a lot of needs here, and so I talked about. When I was last year, we were talking about things that I wanted to accomplish, goals that I had for this district. And what I think is so important is, first of all, I have wonderful staff members who support the office, from Albany to Middletown to Monticello, and together I really believe we are making a difference and helping people. And that to me is the goal of this position, is to help people every single day, whether it be on an individual basis or more district-wide or statewide. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I take the time and why I work so hard, is to be there to support the people of this district. And one of the things that we talked about was housing.
Yes.
Workforce housing for the people who work here now and maybe are working 2 jobs to be able to pay for a place to put their head down at night. Maybe they are living with parents because they can't afford a place to live on their own. And so really from the first day in office, I started convening roundtables that were focused on the creation of workforce housing. And I put together groups of people. I sort of playing matchmaker was my thinking. I put together our largest employers in the county, developers, union folks, county officials, municipal officials, and tried to figure out where we could make a match, where we could perhaps build some housing, whether there were deals to be made, whether the folks who say we have sort of a rotation of employees because we fill positions, but people can't afford to live here.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have some investment here, and so that's who I'm working with, and I was thrilled less than a month ago at our last workforce housing roundtable that a contract was signed between Resorts World Catskills and Kearney Development for workforce housing on Route 17B near the racetrack.
Okay.
And this is, to me, this is the beginning of a real game changer. The point of this housing is to, again, help people who work here have a place to live that is affordable based on the salaries in Sullivan County. And that's step one. And I'm looking forward to more of these announcements in the near future.
Now, how does the workforce housing look? Do you have to work for, let's say, Resorts World? Do you have to work for them?
No, you do not. There will be a number of slots that are local preference.
Okay.
But you don't have to work at Resorts World.
Okay.
However, I really hope that a lot of Resorts World employees get to take advantage of this housing. And the other piece of it that I'm hoping will happen working with the county is to have Move Sullivan have a stop at the new housing so that it can be kind of seamless. So you can get from your housing to where you might be working back and forth. And the goal is to try and unite Sullivan County, make it easier for people to work here, live here, play here, educate their kids here, all the things.
Because someone had put up, does the county, when you have these meetings, is it like an open door meeting, or is it just for
these meetings are not, these particular meetings are not open to the public, and and they're not open to the press.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard about this. I heard it. I don't know if it where I saw, was it on Facebook or something? I was like, okay, I want to ask her about that.
Yep.
So, and I always talk about regular people like me, right? With the one income, one and a half incomes, got to work 2 jobs to survive.
Yes.
And
exactly.
That's why I asked, would you have to work at this location?
Yep. You don't have to.
Okay.
But again, the goal is, this is for people who live here now, who are struggling to find a place to live. And this will open up, literally open up doors for people.
Okay.
And that's the goal. And
that's good.
Yeah, it is good.
Because you're here. And let me ask you, what's one of the things that shocked you since being in this position? Like, did you come in and one particular or 2 particular things like shocked you, like, wow, I wasn't expecting that?
So I've had a lot of background in state government and municipal government, but I will tell you the one thing that continues to shock me is some of the way some of my colleagues in Albany disrespect other colleagues' time, not showing up on time for meetings, not showing up on time for session. We sit around almost every day that we have a session day. We sit around for a good hour and a half waiting for a quorum. That's time that I certainly could spend helping a constituent, negotiating legislation. There's a lot of things that we could be doing. And that, to me, that's probably the most shocking thing. And it's we are there to represent the people of our districts.
Right.
And when session is called for 11 a.m., everybody should be there.
Right. So they don't lock the doors and tell the people you can't come in, because it is disrespectful to you, and it's disrespectful to the people that you're serving, because like you said, that's time that could be spent, somebody coming in talking to you, or, so are there any consequences? Because that just seems to me personally that's just something that seems to go on in politics. We see that in the White House in the sessions, and people just don't show up when they don't want to.
The consequence could be that somebody doesn't get reelected. But there's no locking of doors. The chamber, the Assembly chamber is, as the speaker likes to say, it's the people's house. Anyone is welcome there anytime. So doors are always open. I wish more of the members would understand that.
Chris had a good question. He goes, looking back, Mr. Ketcherack, you met his partner in the studio with the Rec Boys when you went to Rashad's barber shop. I don't know if you remember, in Liberty. Shad was on with me the last time. So he's this other part of Catch and Rec. He said, looking back at your campaign platform, what's one promise that has taken longer than you expected? What's standing in the way, and when should constituents expect to see results? I'm sorry, I can't read. It's too small.
I got it. I mean, sort of a big issue is affordability.
Yes.
And it really hasn't gotten much better over time. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest issues that my office sees every day is utility billing and people struggling and suffering every
Yes.
single day paying these incredibly ridiculous utility bills.
Yes.
And my staff and I spend an inordinate amount of time working on this one issue. And
Mhm.
there's some things in this year's budget that are helpful, but we're not there yet. We're not nearly there yet. I'm really hoping that the governor supports spending more time on this issue in
Mhm.
the next budget and the next legislative session, because I don't feel that there's been enough focus on a statewide level on this issue that we know every single day. People, what happens to a lot of folks is they are put on a payment plan, and they're on the payment plan for 11 months, and month 12 comes around, and that's where the utility considers catch-up time.
Mhm. I've tried
That
to tell people that.
that catch-up payment
Yeah.
destroys people's
Yes.
budgets, but and it becomes really untenable for a lot of people. And the billing, the rates are too high.
Yes.
The Public Service Commission really doesn't seem to be supporting the public in the way that I think it should be. So that's an issue that needs work every day on both on an individual basis and statewide. We need to do something to make sure that the costs are not on the backs of all of the folks who are, struggling to make ends meet. And we've got to do more.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the utilities, because I didn't even have that on my list, but that's a big thing, because I've seen people whose bills were like over $2,000 in a month. I'm speaking for myself. The previous job that I had, I wasn't even home. Basically, I was hardly ever home. And my electric bill jumped from like $110 a month, which is still a lot for a small spot like I have, to over $500 a month. And so when I'm the only person in my home, I'm trying to pay my rent, and then I get this bill that's more than half of my rent. And then you have all your other utilities. It just seems like the people in position don't really care about the regular working man. It's easy for them because their paychecks don't look like mine. Like mine is like a flip compared to those, and many other hardworking people that go to work every day and work in the 2 jobs just trying to survive. We're not working 2 jobs because we want to go on vacation. We just want to not have to choose between buying groceries and paying for our utilities and having a roof over our head.
I say the same thing, and it's a real problem. It is. And so here's a tip that I'm going to give all your listeners, which may help some people. But everybody used to think that your meter should be on what's called the day-night rate.
Yeah, I don't even understand that. I've seen that. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. So for, you run your dishwasher at night, you do your laundry at night, and and the rates are lower. Well, unfortunately, that's not true anymore. And people who are on the day-night rate are paying more than people who are just on the straight meter. So, so we tell people, and the utility has been telling people too, make sure that you are not on the day-night meter. And if anyone has questions, they can call my office, 845-794-5807, and we can take a look at their bill. Because that has helped a lot of people whose bills were out of control. But even with that, it's just, people can't live like this.
No.
And it's one of a lot of things that can really break the back of a struggling family. And it's just wrong.
I'm glad that I don't have anybody that I have to take care of, because if this was when my children were younger, if I had to there's no way I would be homeless on the streets. There's no way. Chris said Residents believe that rapid development associated with growing communities in Sullivan County has contributed to higher housing costs and increased pressure of infrastructure. What is your plan to ensure that growth, regardless of who's moving here, doesn't make life less affordable for existing residents? I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm. So just like what I was talking about with the workforce housing, we need more of that for existing residents. And the other thing that's really problematic in a lot of our towns is we have aging, not just aging, we have old, ancient infrastructure.
Yes.
Water, sewer, roads, and so
can't handle all of this.
Right. So we need some investment from the state, and I was really disappointed. The new round of grants just came out from EFC, and the 100th district did not get any of those EFC grants. I know that the town of Liberty has been really working hard to obtain funding for its infrastructure, and the town of Fallsburg has too. It's critical to us that we get some of this funding for our infrastructure.
So how do we get it?
Well, so one of the things that I'm doing is working with the county. One of the ways that the state grades all applications, and one thing that they are always looking for is there's a designation called a pro-housing community that municipalities opt in for. And when they do that, they automatically get they're bumped up on the process for getting grants. I know Liberty has done that. I believe Fallsburg has done that, but a lot of our villages have not done that as yet. Heather in the Sullivan County Planning Department has been great, and she's working with a lot of municipalities to get them going. But we need to really push and work with our legislators to really push the state to say, hey, focus here on Sullivan County. We have a lot of needs. And I will say that I'm really proud that I have been able to bring back an extraordinary amount of taxpayer dollars back into this county, but there's a lot more that's needed. This year to Sullivan County, I've brought back more than $20 million.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, there's so much more needed.
Yes.
And, right. But some of that is for mental health, and we know
get into that too.
Okay. So I was able to get a $10 million grant for Evergreen Meadows, which is a it will be a school for middle school girls in crisis. They currently run programs throughout the county now, but then they will now be able to actually have their own school in the town of Thompson for girls from actually anyone throughout the state of New York will be able to go there. And we know that mental health matters. I passed legislation to require better assistance to make sure that there are less suicides on bridges on the Hudson Valley, on the Hudson River. We've passed the Rural Suicide Initiative in the Assembly at the end of session. But we also know that here in Sullivan County, we just don't have very many. Sorry, I have a fly in my house.
That would drive me crazy.
We don't have very many providers, and we've got to do something about that.
So what exactly is, good job. What exactly is the school? Is for people, young girls dealing with mental illness?
Yes. So young girls in crisis. Perhaps thinking about self-harm.
Okay.
Yep. And
so for the little boys out there thinking, well, what about me?
There are other schools for little boys. I believe there's one in Lake Placid, but this particular school is for young girls.
That's really cool. I've never heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we we know, I mean, like I used to work for the county and then working around the county and seeing there is a lot of mental illness around here.
Yes.
And it can even, people don't even get that depression when you're diagnosed depressed. That's a form of mental illness, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it can come from losing your house and losing your home and losing your job. And they used to say you're one paycheck away from homelessness. It's not even one paycheck anymore. So all that stuff can
It's
spiral out.
one utility bill, really.
Yes, one grocery shopping trip, which is really sad. What is the Rural Suicide Initiative? What
It,
is that?
it's to help bring providers
Mhm,
and figure out different ways to bring providers into rural areas like Sullivan County.
mhm.
Um, and also, sometimes it will have to be remote because, again, we don't have providers here, but it is something that is so important. Just like peer, we also passed some peer-to-peer legislation for mental health for police officers last year.
Okay.
But we need so much here, and we know that our healthcare is really we are in a true crisis with our healthcare,
Yeah.
with Optum/Crystal Run closing bit by bit.
Yes.
But I have to say that our hospital, Garnet, is doing its very best to step up, and
Okay.
especially with regard to OBGYN, they've hired two of the providers from Crystal Run,
Okay.
and they will be working out of Garnet. But we need more, and we need more. I've given a grant to the Highland Health Initiative, which is going to be a community-based healthcare in the town of Highland in Berryville,
Mhm.
and they are renovating a former doctor's office and working with NYU to come up with what the needs are, what they can operate out of that facility,
Mhm.
and how to have healthcare in probably our most rural part of this county.
Yeah.
Transportation matters.
Transportation. Does the Sullivan Move bus go out there?
Not
Not
well,
yet.
to that particular place, not yet, but I think that really has to happen at some point. Once they're up and running,
Right.
there have to be conversations.
Because that's when I was hearing about all the closures, the different departments.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a procedure coming up and I'm mentally preparing myself for this procedure just to find out now I would have to go to Newburgh. And my thing was for the people that don't have transportation, like how are they supposed to get back and forth to their
Right.
medical appointments? You're going to see people getting sicker and sicker because they're not going to be able to get to these appointments.
Totally agree.
So how do you know? I mean, you're not a doctor, but you're an assemblywoman, so you're in that room and you know what's going on. How do they determine, what counties are good enough, basically, to have medical appointments, medical doctors, and things like that?
Well, a lot of it has to do with funding and money and
Money.
reimbursement rates and what kind of profit. But I'll tell you this. Last month I went to, and really, it was a really transformative graduation to me for Garnet Medical, for their residents who were graduating from Garnet. And it was amazing to see. There were a group of doctors who are staying with Garnet,
Mhm.
and they have an incredible residency school at Garnet in Middletown. And I would love to see something similar to that
Mhm.
in Catskill, because if we can capture some of these local students and they start their careers locally, maybe
Mhm.
we get to keep them.
Because we need them.
We
We
need
we
every
really.
single one of them.
Now, I'm just curious, because we were talking about the billing, not well, billing, I'm thinking work, talking about the funding and the grants.
Mhm.
And you mentioned the legislators. And do they go to Albany? Do you guys work together to make some of these things happen? Like, do you work with our legislators?
Our county legislators? Yes.
Yes.
Of course I do.
Okay.
I work very closely, especially with Chair Nadia Raj. We're working on legislation right now that, one of the things we're concerned about is the county and the town of Thompson get a share of profits from Resorts World Catskills.
Okay.
And it depends on how much Resorts World Catskills brings in every year. Now we have 3 downstate casinos that have been given licenses in New York City. If we start to lose some of the funding because Resorts World Catskill loses, their income is diminished, then Sullivan County will lose some of the funding that it gets from the casino every year. So I've been working with Nadia, with Matt McPhillips, with Louis Alvarez on legislation that says, hold on, we're going to look at the most money that the county and the town have gotten from the casino, and we're going to say that's the minimum amount we can get. We're not if the casino loses money, we're not going to lose money too. We're going to stay at that level, and we have a guarantee that we're not going to come in less than that number. And that's very important because the county right now, as we know, they are looking at potentially a rough budget. And this is a piece that we don't want to lose. We want to keep all of the income streams flowing as best as we can.
What do you mean a rough budget?
The county, they're concerned about budget and about increases. And
so how would that affect the everyday normal person?
There could be and likely will be tax increases on the county portion of everybody's tax payment. So currently, when you pay tax, we pay taxes twice a year. January is the county town, and in June is September is the school tax.
Okay.
So the county portion of the budget is, and I know the county legislators are looking very carefully to see how they're going to do this, but there have been rumblings that there are going to be increases in cost, which would lead to higher taxes for all of us.
What's crazy is there are a lot of tax exempt places now in Sullivan County. So it seems like the burden, thank God I'm not a homeowner because it would be terrible, but it seems like the taxes on the property and everything for the non-tax exempt people, they're getting hit harder.
You know who's the largest the largest landowner in Sullivan County?
No.
That does New York State.
Huh?
New York State is, yep. New York State owns a lot of land in Sullivan County that is not taxable.
But it's still non-taxable and it's still falling on the regular people.
Correct. But it's been like this forever. But yeah, New York State used to be the Boy Scouts. Yep.
I don't even know if we still have Boy Scouts. I don't have little people, so I don't know.
Yes,
they're still Boy Scouts.
They're Scouts, not Boy Scouts anymore.
Oh, they're Scouts.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. You built the trust. Like that was one of the things you were running on, trying to build the trust of the people here in Sullivan County. So how does that feel?
Well, it's a two-way.
I hear really good things about you, just so you know. I hear nothing.
Thank you.
And I was concerned at one point. I'm like, Irene Gunther, she's been in there a long time, everybody may be a little nervous because when someone new comes in, you're like, I don't know, but you built that trust. Just so you know, I heard it.
Well, I'm very accessible. I think that's really important. And one of the reasons that we moved the assembly office to Broadway and Monticello was to make sure that we were super accessible. And we get a lot of walk-ins from, people just walking by and saying, oh, this is the assembly office. Let me come say hello. And I love that.
Well, what can we talk to the assembly people about? Like, you invited me to your office several times. You were like, just come by. And I'd walk past it. I think most of the time I was either working, so I didn't have time, or you guys it was later in the evening. But I'm like, what would we talk about in the assembly?
Anything, any issue you're having with state government, you can come in and see. We have incredible artwork on loan from the Black Library in the front of the office, probably about 20 paintings. And actually our mailman, John, just came by last week to drop off some photographs that he curated, and we're putting that up. We love to display local artists, and so come by and see the art. Come by and maybe you don't have a problem, but you have something that's on your mind. Come tell us.
Okay. Yeah, you've been nothing but welcoming your staff. You've been nothing but kind. Many people, especially now in this day and age, feel really disconnected from their government and the government. And they feel as if, I talk about it all the time when I do talk politics, that their vote doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So what could you say to someone like that feels so disconnected? Because I was that person at one point when I had took my hiatus from all this stuff. I just felt like we're at the point of no return. So what do you say to people that are feeling that way?
Well, especially in a community like Sullivan County, one vote does matter.
Yes.
One vote can change an election. But also, if people are feeling disconnected from an elected official, maybe the elected official isn't quite doing their job. I think it's really important. It is what it is, Bunky.
Right.
So I think it's really important. So yes, I have the office in Albany. I have the office in Monticello and in Middletown. But I also do office hours. I've done office hours in Town of Highland, in Narrowsburg. I go to the Town of Walk Hill Town Hall, once every month or so. I try and be where the people are, and
you're present. You're present.
And a lot of times people come in to say hello. They don't necessarily have a problem,
right?
But they just they want to get a sense of who's representing them. And I think that's important. And I try and go to a lot of local events and talk to people and just, be present. I'm from this community. I've lived here 30 years. And, I shop at the places everybody shops. I go to the Trading Post and ShopRite, Dollar General. You'll see, my dogs are from the SPCA in Rock Hill, my puppies. I'm here.
You are present. You do attend things. I mean, like I do see you, in pictures, because I don't go out, but I do see you around. But is it scary a little bit? Like now you're in the forefront. You're coming from. Did you used to work with?
I worked with Jake and Aileen Gunther, and I worked for the town of Thompson, town attorney, and the town of Fallsburg, town attorney. I represented several not-for-profits and fire departments, fire districts, ambulance corps. So pretty familiar with government. I used to. I met my husband working for the New York City Council. So, this has been really my life, has been working in government. A lot of times before this, I was working on behalf of another elected official.
So what could you say to people that because I've heard things, they were kind of crazy to me because being the person that I am, but there are people that feel as if you defend law enforcement too much. Now, when I say that's crazy to somebody like me, because I am from a family of law enforcement, I believe in, that's their job, that's their, career. Like everybody has a job. Why wouldn't you want to support them? But how do you convince people that you're here for everyone?
Well, and that's exactly it. I am here for everyone.
Right.
I'm here on behalf of the New Hope community and the Center for Discovery and the warming station in the city of Middletown
Okay.
and the Federation for the Homeless. Yes, I support the law enforcement. I support our volunteers because they're really struggling. Our EMS volunteers and our fire department volunteers, they're in it. It's a very hard time to do what they do.
Yes.
I actually I passed a piece of legislation at the very end of session to require utilities to be on scene of a downed wire within 3 hours, because a lot of times our volunteer fire department officials are sitting there waiting for hours for the utility companies to show up, and they have way better ways to use their time, even if it's just being in bed and getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah, but they're family, I give props to the volunteers, because to voluntarily run into a fire, that to me, that makes no sense. I'm not running, I'm running the other way. So I give them much respect, for that. And they do need all the support they can get, the EMTs, all the it takes a special person to do that.
It really does. It really does. And at a time when there are less and less volunteers, so people who are doing it, they're going in with, their day is going to be different now than it was maybe 5-10 years ago. They're shouldering a lot more of the burden than they used to, because there's fewer volunteers.
And I don't know if they still have it around here. They used to have the mobile mental health. Do they still have that? Is that volunteer?
So there's actually a van that goes around, and we just got their schedule for July, and I was actually going to post probably tomorrow or the next day their schedule where they're going to be. It's not Mobile Mental Health, but it's a different organization. But they're, in Monticello, they're at the hospital, they're all over the place. And as soon as I have it in a form that I can share it, I'm going to do that, because I think, it's a great way for people to know where help may be, and if they can access it, that's even better.
And does it go by like sliding scales? Like, what if people don't have?
I don't think it costs any money.
Oh, that's even better. That's even better.
Yeah.
So people won't neglect, their mental health, and when they're going through something. Wow. Okay. So beyond the title, right? When you're away from Albany and your official responsibilities, who is Paula Kay? What keeps you grounded, and what keeps you inspired to continue to want to serve the community? Like, who are you?
I would start with my family, my husband, Jonathan, my kids, who are amazing. Our 14-month-old puppies, who I don't think they're on screen, but they're right behind me. I've been waiting for a deer to show up in my lawn and for them to explode. But I'm a quiet person. I like to read. I like reality TV. It's a great way to just sort of cleanse your mind of a
Yes.
lot of stress. I love to go to the gym. That's really important to me. For me, for mental health and stress relief, I think working your body is so important.
Yes, I agree.
Yep. And I love where I live. I love looking out, um, at the trees, and if I can, sitting on my porch, just just being completely relaxed, if that's possible. I'm not sure that's possible, but I try.
Well, you need to, because you have a lot on your plate. You have the whole district on your plate, which is a lot. And then you have that open door policy. So you can't leave your job
No.
and leave it there. You know how they say when you leave work, leave it there. When you come in, leave home at home and don't bring it into work. There's no way you can leave.
That is true.
Right.
But and one other thing that I want to stress is it's so important. And I actually just talked about this in Middletown last week. I was at the Paramount Theater with the mayor and Senator Skoufis for the Jimmy Sturr Orchestra during July 4th weekend. And one of the things that's so important is partnership and cooperation with all levels of government. It's something I talked about during the campaign. I will work with everybody. I do work with everybody. I don't care what party you are. It doesn't matter. We all represent the people of this district, and we have to work together to do the very best we can to help the people who live here. And there's some great elected officials who, put their head down and do the work.
You mentioned the parties. Has there ever been a time since you've been in this position that you've had a problem because somebody refused to cross a party line? You ever found that?
No, actually.
That's good.
No, I don't care what, if somebody is a Democrat, Republican,
Conservative, independent.
It doesn't
Right.
matter. If they are, serving their constituents, we have the same constituents, we're working together.
But have you come across anyone that's hesitant on doing the right thing? Like, oh, well, it goes against my party. See, we're not naming names, so it's okay.
Yeah,
So
I would say no.
okay.
I would say when it comes to representing the 100th district, everybody's really kind of on board with let's do what's right. Now, up in Albany, things are much more party based. So there's the majority party and the minority party, and sometimes when there's a vote, here's a really good example. There's a piece of legislation and we're about to vote on it, and the majority leader, who's a Democrat, will say something to the effect of, the majority party is going to vote yes on this particular piece of legislation, but if you choose to vote differently, you may do so at your seat. And the minority floor leader will say the same thing, that right. There are a lot of times that I vote not a lot of times, but there are definitely times when I do not vote with the majority, because Sullivan County is not New York City. We have a lot of needs that are very different than New York City. And so I review every single bill that goes onto the floor, and I vote the way my constituents want me to vote, not the way the party is asking me to vote. And that
should be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it should be. All right, well, that's good to know, because I'm sure there's, just watching, television and watching how it goes on those floors, it's like really out of control. It's like you'll see what needs to be done for the people that voted you in, and just so that you can be loyal to a party or a person, you go the other way, like blinders until election time comes, and then you're like, oh, I need your vote, and you're trying to backpedal. So I was just wondering.
No, and a lot of times people get surprised. I'll call, based on the legislation, I'll call people in the district and say, hey, this is coming up. What do you think about this?
Mhm. Okay.
And it could be, we work sometimes very late at night, so it may be kind of an odd time, but it's really important that I'm voting on behalf of my constituents, not on behalf of a party. Exactly
I
that.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's a good answer. I like that. So everybody's not like what we see on television. They're not like that. There are some good people out there that are true to their constituents.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get ready to do a final thought, because for those that are just watching, Miss Kay she's under the weather and did not cancel on me. And so I appreciate that. Like I told you, I appreciate that in you so much. So final thought. So as we conclude, what message would you like to share with the residents of the district? And what do you hope your legacy of public service will ultimately be?
Well, we talked about it before. My office is open. I have an incredible staff in each office who are, they're there, they're welcoming, they're there to help everybody. And we hope that people come by and see us. And my legacy would be that I made a difference. I made a difference to a struggling family with a utility bill. I made a difference to people who are struggling with mental illness, with being able to bring in providers. I made a difference to somebody who to sleep at night. And I made a difference to the not-for-profits that are struggling to keep their doors open sometimes. And my office has been able to assist in many cases.
What a legacy. What a legacy. And for those that are listening, and we're saying that her office is on Broadway, for those that are familiar with Broadway Monticello, it's right across the street from,
the Bagel Bakery.
The Bagel Bakery and TD Bank. TD Bank is right there across the street. Boom. And she's right there. So so you can't miss it.
No, and I'll say this, please, 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 if you come visit us, just be very careful. That intersection is a tough intersection, Lakeview and Broadway. So please come see us, but watch if you're walking, watch for cars. If you're driving, please be careful.
Okay, you guys heard that. Well, is there anything else? Anything else? Did I miss anything?
I just want to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and it was absolutely fabulous to talk to you and be able to express some of the work that my office has done. And I'm just so proud of my team, and I'm happy to be here.
They're so nice. You really have a great team, and I appreciate you. Like I said, this is your second time being on the show, and the first time I was a little nervous. I didn't think you would say yes. And then when you offered to come back, and then you guys, we've been trying to get this thing together this second time, but it worked out perfectly in the right time. So I appreciate you. You're always welcome. If there's anything you need to share, just let me know. We'll get you on. Maybe next time I'll have Shad on too. Because I think he wanted to be on this time. I think, but his barbershop is growing.
Good for him. So, that's great.
He's doing really well. So once again, thank you so much to all the people out there. Assemblywoman Paula Kay is here for you. She has our back. So go talk to her, or maybe not talk to one of her people, because she's very busy. She's only one person. Don't expect her to do everything, right? So this is Tea Time with Bunky. Catch me on Thursdays, every Thursday. Not sure if I'll be here next week. Next week is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I will be 56 on Tuesday.
Yay.
So happy birthday to me. So I don't
Thank
know
you.
if I'll have a show next week. I got to see what's going on. So everybody, make sure you say something nice to someone in the street, because you never know what somebody is going through. They may have a smile on their face and breaking on the inside. And that one kind word is all that they need. So
Kindness
all,
is catching.
yes. I appreciate you. I appreciate all that are tuned in. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can catch me on various podcast platforms as well. Like, share, follow, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. I appreciate you all so much. Have a wonderful night. Good night.
Thank you.
Feel better.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Thank you.